So should you forgive the people who have hurt you? Now there's a saying that if you give forgiveness to them and you show love to your enemies, you kind of let go of it, and eventually you will start receiving love and happiness in your own life. And many religions preach this, teach this, and embody this whole idea of forgiving your enemies. Because once you forgive your enemies, it says in the Bible, it says in the Quran, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, and even says in the religion of Buddhism. In Buddhism especially, they teach you like, show love to your enemies, show love and kindness to not only you, but the people around you and also your enemies. But should you really forgive them? I love this whole idea. The idea is great and it actually makes sense, because once you start forgiving them, you kind of detach yourself from the pain that has been caused, kind of detach yourself to that enmity, that kind of mindset that this person has hurt me, that person has did this to me throughout my entire journey of this thing called life. And when you start detaching yourself to that outcome and you start forgiving, you kind of let go of it. And let me tell you one thing very clearly. Forgiving someone is much more easier on the long term, because you're not thinking about it constantly over and over again. So the idea in itself is amazing. It's great. But many, authors and gurus and teachers, they say that you don't have to forgive your enemies. If you read the book, The Power of Now, and even Eckhart Tolle explains in some of his conferences, saying that you don't owe people any of your energy. You don't owe the people who have hurt you any energy. You don't have to even be thinking about them. So the whole idea, the whole preface of you thinking about your enemies is what is ruining you, is what is actually destroying you on a regular basis. Accept it or not, but this is the truth. Because when you're constantly thinking about them, like, how could that person do this to me? How could that person commit such bad things in my life? Why could he or she inflict such negativity upon me? That person has ruined me. So if you're just focusing upon that whole premise, that person and what the person has done to you, you will be unable to enjoy life as it is. You can go to the best spot, the best vacation in the world. You can be in a beach in Bali, all right? And you'll be thinking, how could that person do this to me? And you'll miss out on what is actually there in front of you. You'll miss out on this amazing beach. And that strips away happiness, from this current moment. That strips away your future, your goals, your aspirations, and everything that you're aspiring for. Now, that is why they tell forgive and forget. And many people teach this, like, so this whole preface, even in Buddhism, they say like, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, and may I grow. The same thing apply to the people who you love. May she be happy, may she be well, may she be free from suffering, may she grow. And then you go on to the next step. This is much more intense. You start forgiving and you show love and kindness to even your enemies. May that person, let's say some guy just did some really bad things to you in your life, and you're like, may he be well, may he be happy, may he be free from suffering, and may he grow. Right? So what you're basically doing is in a form of you're letting go of that pain, that trauma, that emotions of disrupt, that negative emotions, that intense feeling. You're letting go of it, and then you're kind of forgiving them. But sometimes we have undergone things that cannot be forgiven, all right? And that is where Eckhart Tolle and Tony Robbins, every one of them, they tell you, you don't owe these people any sort of energy. And even Vadim Zeland, he preaches on his books saying that you don't owe forgiveness to the people who have hurt you. You don't really owe them anything. Because if you're forgiving, you're also attached. Your thought process kind of taps into their energy field and kind of absorbing them. Even though they have hurt you a long time ago, you're just replaying that situation in your mind again and again, and this kind of ruins your daily life. It kind of ruins you living in this present moment. It kind of ruins you to enjoy the smallest of the smallest things in life, and even your big success. You're always going to be thinking about that one day where everything went down, where everything hit the fan, and you were hurt, and you were in pain, and you felt all this anger. And that is why you don't really owe anything to them. You don't really have to forgive them. It really doesn't matter. All you have to do is let go of the pain, the trauma that you've been endured upon by that one person. And when you let go of the pain, automatically you will not care for the person. The person exists. Even if the person comes right in front of your face, you will feel like not giving a shit about them, really. And we expect that the person who has hurt us to come in front of us and tell, I'm sorry, I apologize for what we did. But even if that person does that, it's not going to make you feel any better, because you're not attached to that person, you're attached to the pain. Let me say that once again. You are not attached to the person. You are attached to the pain the person has caused. You are attached to the incidents that have poked pain, anger, shame, guilt, that have stirred up these kind of negative emotions in you. You are not attached to the person. And you kind of backward rationalize. You kind of lie to yourself, kind of fool yourself, telling that it is the person and not the incident. All right. And of course, the person has inflicted that wounds on you, but still, once you let go of that incident and that pain attached to it, the person really doesn't matter. Because people who have hurt you, they come right in front of your face. And even if they try to apologize, they kind of provoking you into remembering all that pain, all that incidents that they have caused upon you. And it's kind of a game. It's kind of poking you. Let's say something bad had happened. They have done something to you. And let's say you moved on. You're like not actually moved on. You're kind of suppressed it, put it in the back, and you're not really thinking about it at this very present moment. They'll come have a conversation with you. And even though they know that you are not really thinking about that incident at this very moment, they're going to somehow connect the dots to that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I did that. Oh my God, that happened. I'm changed. I'm not really like this. Just to see how you react, just to see how you react to that intensity when they provoke you. So let go of that emotion, let go of the pain that you've been attached to that, and then you'll be free. Literally, you'll be free from anybody else. You'll identify the patterns and behaviors that any other person exhibits that kind of relatable to the person that has inflicted pain and all these negative emotions upon you. And then it'll be so much more easier for you to handle them, because you're in this constant flow state. You're in this constant state of higher vibration, and other people who are in lower vibration, such as the people who have hurt you, come and try to provoke you. They really can't. They're like screaming at the mountain. It's not going to do anything. And you're so stoic, you're so calm, you're so out of their own reality that you are in this state of being, a state of high vibrational being, that whatever they do really doesn't bother you. And then you moved on, and when they realize that you're moved on and nothing that they do is kind of provoking you, and you don't really give a fuck about them, that is when you see guilt in their eyes. Literally, their whole body language, their eyes, their face, it shows. They feel so guilty, and then you will have all the power in the world to go do back or say some things that you want to say, but you don't. All right? Even if you have all the power in the world to destroy the person who has inflicted wounds on you, you don't, because you are better than that. You are better than that weird, that low vibrational being. They have been hurt themselves. They have wounds which they have not worked upon. They have had trauma, and they love to inflict their trauma upon you. So when you are happy, when you are being in this constant high vibrational state of being, even when you're trying to move on, they don't want you to move on. They want you to stay with them. their lower field of vibration. They want you to be around them. They don't want you to be happy. They see you happy, they're like, how can this person be happy? I'm not happy myself. And that is why they inflict all this pain. They do all these mean things. So when you're moved on, you don't really have to forgive them, right? You just let go of the pain, you moved on, you don't owe them shit. And then when you're in a higher vibrational state and you don't, punish them, even when you have the power, you see the guilt and shame in their face. Because if you really, get revenge, all this petty revenge and stuff, you are still thinking about them. And if you're thinking about all the negative things in life, all the pain points and all the traumatic situations, not only will you fail to live in this very moment or appreciate any big or small success that comes along your way, you will also manifest that fear, that pain again and again in your life. Because if you want to buy a red car, let's say a red Honda Civic or a red Ford or a red Mercedes or BMW, you go on the road, you will see only red cars, all right? Because that is what you're focusing upon. Your RAS system, your reticular activation system, only focuses on the things that you want to focus upon. It kind of manifests itself because there has always been red cars in the road, all right? Just because you were thinking to buy a red car doesn't mean they made more red cars in the road. That doesn't mean everybody bought a red car and driving it on the road. You wanted to buy a red car and suddenly you started seeing more red cars on the road. It's kind of it was blocked off before, but now you're focusing upon it. Same thing, same principle applies here. If you're always focusing on the people who have hurt you, always focusing on the situations that have brought you pain by those people, you're always going to manifest that in your real life. Even though it happened 10, 15 years ago, the same situations will replay and manifest back again and again. It's like a never-ending vicious cycle. You're always in the same loop. It's like Groundhog Day. If you watch that movie, the guy gets stuck in this one day and it happens again and again. And then he finally breaks out of it. So you must finally break out of it. And that happens only if you let go of the situation and not the person. And when you let go of that, when you're now in this elevated state, in this high vibrational frequency, and when you meet that person again, the person will try everything in their power to kind of bring you down back to their frequency, bring you down back to their vibrational state of being, like that low anger, shame, guilt, apathy. And then you don't comply. You're so outside their energy zone, kind of they feel so powerless and you feel untouchable. They think that you're untouchable and invincible. And that time they will have guilt in their face. And that time you don't inflict the same things that they have done to you. Because if you do that, there's no difference between you and them. And if you do that, if you really go and take revenge on them, you will lower down your own vibration. And it's just you taking revenge, they hurting you. You taking revenge and then them taking revenge again. It's just a cycle that keeps going on, and you'll never break out from that. You'll always be focused upon that, and you'll never, achieve a positive trajectory in your life. You'll always be going down and down, because in life you're either going up or you're going down. And when you're down in this low vibrational state, you kind of manifest that into your surroundings, kind of manifest that in your daily activities, and you keep going down and down and down, and both of you are fighting. None of you are thriving, none of you are growing. You're just harming each other and staying in that same state. So don't do that. Even when you have the power to completely destroy them, don't do that. You just let go of the pain, and automatically, you don't have to forgive anybody. You don't have to forgive that person. You're just growing, you're thriving, focusing on you, focusing on the things that you want, focusing on this very present moment, and focusing on the things that actually bring you happiness, joy, and comfort and prosperity. And none of them matter, because you are the main character of your life. Everything else, everybody else are supporting characters. So you choose your plot, you choose your storyline. You have the power to do that, because what's on the inside reflects outside. Your reality is the outer reflection of your inner reality. So master your inner reality, master your emotions, master your vibration, get into this high flow state, high vibrational state of being, and watch your life also shift paradigms and shift realities.